Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're shifting gears a bit. We're moving away from the usual policy and reports.
Yeah, we're diving into something much more, well, visceral, real stories.
Exactly. Real life accounts of summer trips where things went terribly wrong, where that sense of freedom just vanished and turned into a fight to survive.
We've gathered three very specific narratives. And when you look at them together, they reveal these really chilling patterns, things every traveler should probably be aware of.
Vulnerabilities.
Yeah. Definitely. These aren't just abstract warnings. They're, case studies straight from the people who live through them.
Right.
And our goal isn't just to tell scary stories. We want to pull out the key insights. Ask the question, what exactly turns a perfect vacation spot into a crime scene?
So what are we seeing?
Well, we see three main tactics. First, how isolation gets weaponized. Second, this idea of geographic manipulation being trapped by the landscape.
Okay.
And third, the danger of just not understanding the local context, sort of contextual blindness.
Okay, let's break that down. Story one takes us to Wyoming, the remote plateaus there.
Yeah.
A graduation trip that really shows the danger of being completely isolated.
Right. The setting is key here. You've got the narrator, Alexandra, Nick, and Jack, just graduated high school.
Celebrating living their best life, as they put it.
Exactly. And they had this tradition driving out to these remote plateaus off Highway 141 for rock climbing. It was kind of a rite of passage. The isolation was the whole point, that freedom.
So they find a spot, park Alex's Jeep in this little gravel area, and pretty quickly, 15 minutes, they're up on this rock face, drinking beers, looking out at this huge Wyoming landscape.
But that isolation, the very thing they wanted, made them vulnerable. And visible. Well, they were up high, sure, but the Jeep was down below. Easy to spot. It basically screamed outsiders, maybe opportunity in such an empty place.
And that's when the truck appeared.
Yeah, a red pickup. First it speeds past. Then, and this is weird, it slams on the brakes, reverses, and pulls right into their lot.
Okay, that's immediately unsettling.
Totally. From up on the rock, they watch this guy get out. They can't see him clearly, just his build.
Yeah.
But he immediately starts walking around the Jeep.
Not just stretching his legs?
No. Peering in windows, trying the door handles. It looked exactly like someone casing a vehicle, testing the waters.
So what did they do?
Well, Nick yelled down, "Hey!" To let the guy know they were there.
Right.
And then jumped, looked up, saw them. He even waved back. But, and this is the crucial part, he didn't leave. He kept messing with the car. He was committing.
That's bold and scary.
It spooked Jack. He made a bad call, maybe understandable, but bad. Yelled down that they were armed, tried to bluff the guy.
Oh no, how did that go?
Terrible. The man just looks up and yells back, "Me too, kiddo." And then he holds up something. They couldn't see exactly what, but they assumed.
A weapon.
A weapon, yeah.
Yeah.
Instantly escalated.
And then?
Then violence. They watched him ram his shoulder, then his elbow, into the Jeep window. Over and over until they heard the glass shatter. They scrambled down that rock face fast, sprinted towards the Jeep, but it was too late.
He was waiting.
By the time they got there, he had the gun out, clear as day, pointed right at them, forced them to throw down their phones, their wallets.
Did they get a good look at him then?
Yeah, the narrator described him. Older white guy, scraggly beard, but otherwise, totally non-distinctive, just forgettable, which, works to his advantage out there.
And he didn't just rob them.
No, there was this final nasty twist. He pulls out a knife, jabs it into one of Alex's tires, punctures it, then gets in his truck, no license plates they noticed, and just drives off.
Leaving them stranded, no phone, disabled car, utterly helpless.
Exactly, and that whole thing, spotting them, casing the car, the robbery, disabling the vehicle, it was all possible because they were so isolated. Isolation gives criminals time. It means help is far away. They were targeted because their freedom made them vulnerable.
It's chilling how fast that beautiful remote spot turned dangerous.
Okay, so if Wyoming is about isolation, the next story, New Mexico. That's different. You call it geographic manipulation.
Yeah, it's about being intentionally trapped. This one involves Sophia and her brother Luke. They're driving a U-Haul from California to New Jersey.
A U-Haul cross-country.
Yeah.
That screams possessions inside.
Right. And people had warned them. Family, forums online. Be careful in those small, remote towns in New Mexico. Sketchy situations, crime.
But sometimes you don't have a choice.
Exactly. They planned to drive straight through the state, but the U-Haul was guzzling gas faster than they thought. They found themselves 40 miles from the next big station, needing gas now. The only option was this tiny town just 10 miles up the road.
So they pull in.
And Luke's filling the tank, and Sophia said the vibe was just off. Really quiet, this weird stillness, and the few locals around were just staring. Hard stares. Lingering. They felt totally exposed.
Uncomfortable.
Deeply. But the real nightmare began when they tried to leave.
What happened? They could literally see the highway they needed to get back on,
Right.
but every road they took out of the gas station just didn't work. It curved back into town, or it dead-ended, or just led them the wrong way entirely.
Like a maze.
Exactly. And their GPS was useless. Outdated maps, probably no signal out there. They were physically stuck, seeing freedom, but unable to reach it.
That's a horrible feeling. What did they do?
Well, after driving in circles for like 20 minutes, getting more and more freaked out, Luke went back inside the gas station to ask the clerk for directions.
Okay, makes sense.
He came back out looking really worried.
Why? What did the clerk say?
The clerk gave him this super complicated route. Go 17 miles the wrong way, down these desert back roads, just to eventually loop back to the highway they could practically see.
That sounds suspicious.
Luke thought so too. He said the clerk was maybe too confident about it. He just had this gut feeling, we need to get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
He felt like they were being deliberately misled.
Wow. So the fear wasn't just being lost, it was being intentionally guided somewhere dangerous.
Precisely. That shift, that realization that maybe someone is actively trying to trap you, that's a different kind of terror. Maybe worse than just a straightforward threat.
So what happened? Did they follow the directions?
No. They pulled over, trying to figure out their paper map, and this dusty pickup truck pulls up alongside them. Tense moment, obviously. Luke is trying to figure out if this is more trouble.
Yeah, it could be anyone.
Luke decides to talk to the guy, explains the clerk's directions, and the stranger's reaction. He basically said they were crazy to even think about it.
Seriously?
Yeah. He told them that route leads straight into this desolate area known as a drug-running hotspot. He warned them off it strongly.
My God, so the clerk was sending them into a trap.
It certainly seemed like it. That third-party warning was probably life-saving. The stranger gave them different directions, complicated, involved a gravel road that was easy to miss. Didn't seem intuitive at all.
But they took his advice.
They did. It felt more genuine. And it worked. It eventually got them back to the highway. They just drove and didn't look back.
Incredible. So this story really shows how infrastructure itself, roads, directions, can be used to control and endanger people.
Absolutely. Geographic manipulation. When you're in an unfamiliar, remote place, totally relying on local knowledge or signs, you're vulnerable to being deliberately misled. That breathless limbo, as the source called it, knowing you might be walking into a trap. Terrifying.
Okay, from isolation in Wyoming to manipulation in New Mexico, our third story takes us overseas, to Croatia.
That's right. And here, the danger wasn't really about being isolated or physically trapped. It was about not understanding the context. Cultural blindness, almost.
Tell us about it.
It's the narrator and his girlfriend. P.S. She was part Croatian, part Brazilian. They just graduated college doing a budget Europe trip.
Oh, yeah.
They decided to visit Rijeka, where P.S.'s grandparents were from, but they were saving money, staying in cheap Airbnbs. And Rijeka, it's not a huge tourist hotspot, so they stood out a lot.
Foreigners in a place not used to many tourists.
Exactly. And they noticed the stares they got felt. Different. Not just curiosity, more like intense scrutiny. Uncomfortable.
So what happened?
Well, on their second day, they wanted something authentic. They walked about 15 minutes out from the city center through these residential streets that got quieter and quieter to find this small, local seafood place. Looked nondescript.
Okay, sounds like a nice local experience.
It was, until this group of 5 men came in. The narrator described them as rough-looking. You know, the type you instinctively avoid.
Right.
They sat near them. And P.S., who speaks pretty good Croatian, she suddenly went completely quiet, pale. Leaned over and whispered urgently, "We have to leave now."
Just like that. What did she hear?
This is where the language skill was absolutely critical. The narrator had no idea, but P.S. had understood their conversation.
What were they saying?
She told him later. They were discussing, quite openly, what they were going to do to her. Specifically her. They mentioned separating the two of them, mentioned some guy named Luca.
Oh my God, planning it right there.
Yes. But the truly terrifying part, the detail that stuck with P.S., was her impression that their conversation felt routine. Routine as opposed to fantasy was the phrase used.
Routine? As if this is something they do regularly.
Exactly. That phrase changes everything. It suggests this wasn't some random spur-of-the-moment idea. It sounded like standard practice for them. Targeting foreigners, maybe couples, in that area.
Organized predation.
Chilling. So they tried to leave.
Immediately. Paid quickly, stood up. As they walked out, the narrator glanced back. All 5 men were standing up,
Yeah.
watching them. And then they started walking towards them. Yes, they didn't hesitate. They just broke into a run. Full sprint back through those empty residential streets towards the noise and lights of the city center.
Were the men chasing them?
Yes, they were definitely being pursued through those quiet blocks.
Did they get away?
They did. And here's another key detail. The moment they hit the busier downtown area with traffic, other people around,
Right.
the men stopped chasing. Just stopped.
Which confirms it wasn't random. They needed privacy, anonymity. Precisely. It fits the pattern of organized crime. They often value discretion. Avoid witnesses if the plan goes wrong.
So they were safe, but obviously shaken.
Totally traumatized. They ended up in a cafe trying to process. An older Croatian man nearby overheard them talking frantically about what happened.
What did he say?
He basically called them idiots. Maybe harshly, but, for wandering alone into that specific part of the city. He confirmed that the restaurant they'd gone to was a known hangout for local criminals, part of an organized crime group.
Wow. So P.S.'s language skills, her understanding of the context, even just from overhearing that conversation, literally saved them.
Absolutely. Without that crucial piece of information, they might have just finished their meal, walked out. And who knows? But the experience ruined the rest of their trip. They were too scared to go out much after that.
Understandably. So if we tie these 3 stories together now, Wyoming, New Mexico, Croatia, what's the through line?
Well, they really map out the different ways travelers can become vulnerable, don't they?
Yeah, it seems like it.
You've got the danger of pure isolation, where help is just too far away, like in Wyoming. Then the geographic manipulation, where the landscape and local deceit trap you, like in New Mexico.
And finally, the lack of context, being blind to local dangers that are maybe obvious to residents, like in Croatia.
Exactly. And the common thread in all 3, it's the criminal perception of easy vulnerability. Whether it's isolation, confusion, or just looking like an outsider who doesn't know the score.
That search for the authentic experience, getting off the beaten path.
That often pushes you right into those riskier zones, doesn't it? Just beyond the well-lit, well-traveled areas. And that's where these kinds of dangers can be waiting.
So maybe a final thought for people to consider.
Yeah, think about it. We live in a world where so much is mapped, reviewed, documented online. Every major road, every tourist spot.
Right, information is everywhere.
But what about those hidden dangers? The ones that rely on that isolation or that bit of local knowledge you don't have or that quiet street just off the main square. What routine threats are still lurking just out of sight, waiting for someone unaware?
It's a sobering thought. Hopefully these stories, the insights we've pulled from them, offer some perspective.
Yeah, maybe help navigate things a bit more cautiously.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into these unsettling travel experiences. We hope these stories serve as a stark warning about the darkness that can lurk just beyond the light of a perfect summer vacation.
Stay aware out there.
If you found this exploration terrifying and gripping, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, Horror Docs. We'll see you next time.